21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
As an entrepreneur, you know that leads are the lifeblood of your business. You can't grow without leads, right? But it's really, really challenging to generate leads and keep advertising successfully and profitably in today's world, especially if you really want to go after a specific market segment. It can feel impossible to generate leads and grow your business online if you don't have a big budget for ads, or if you're not an influencer, if you don't have a big social media audience or an email list. But today I'm going to show you how you can actually get leads, fill your sales pipeline, and grow without needing any of that by showing you a new way to generate leads. Or it's really an old way with a new spin on it that a lot of people have forgotten about, which is outbound. Sending targeted cold emails, DMs, or even cold calls to your target audience, which yes, still works, and it still works fantastic. So today we're going to talk about what exactly works and how we're running hundreds of outbound campaigns for our clients, and a framework that you guys can use to build your own campaigns and start this right away. I'm AJ Cassata, co-founder of Revenue Boost. I've been doing outbound lead generation for the last 12 years across multiple different businesses: construction, consulting, marketing agency. I built a few companies, and I've done it all with the same mechanism, which is outbound lead generation, primarily cold email. By now, we've run around 600 to 700 different cold email campaigns for our clients at our agency, and have helped over 400 B2B businesses get leads and grow using targeted cold email campaigns. So today I'm going to share exactly, what works, what doesn't, and our key framework that you guys can all use to build your own targeted cold email campaigns and get more leads without needing to pay for ads or to have a big following on social media. So in case any of you guys don't know what outbound is, let me just break it down really quickly. The way I look at it, there's three main ways to generate leads online for your business. There's paid ads, which is you can pay Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube to show your content to your audience, right? Then there's inbound, which is where you're putting out content and people are coming to you. That could be a podcast, a YouTube channel, posting on LinkedIn, an email list, right? Or even going to events or hosting webinars. That's where you're putting out content and hoping that people come to you. Then there's a third way. There's outbound, which I define as starting conversations with your target market at scale. This is really where you're initiating the conversation by sending a targeted message or a targeted email to your ideal client. And the thing that's really powerful about this is you can get really, really targeted and get really, really high quality leads, because you can really build a list of 1,000 of your most ideal companies or people that you want to work with, like your most ideal dream clients, and just speak to them, right? So it's the most targeted method and really works to land your dream clients. And the cool thing about it as well is that it's not very capital intensive, right? You don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to, pay for all of this media. You can really just get a list and send messages and start to actually book calls for your business. So it's very, very low risk and pretty easy to get started. Now, you might be wondering, how do you actually build an outbound campaign, right? Well, there's 3 steps to any outbound campaign, and this is what we call our repeatable revenue method. And the nice thing about this channel is you only need to really get good at these 3 steps. It's not a complicated 40-step funnel with a lot of different components to it. There's really just 3 things you need to get good at and practice, and then you can have this channel really working well to get predictable, repeatable revenue for your business. So step 1 is identify, which is build a list, right? So all outbound starts with having a list of companies or a list of contacts you want to go out after, right? So if you work with a few different ICPs, a few different ideal customer profiles, you want to really pick one, right? Because outbound campaigns work the best when it's very, very targeted. So let's say that, your business works with e-commerce brands and you work with, marketing directors at e-commerce brands, right? You would want to build a list just of marketing directors at e-commerce brands, ideally within one industry or within one company size, right? Because if you were going to reach out to e-commerce brands that have 5 employees versus e-commerce brands that have 500 employees, those are very different businesses. And the way that you would prospect those and the way that you would write your messaging is very different, because those businesses have very different problems and very different pain points that you would speak to, right? So the first thing is if you have a few different types of customers, you want to really segment and get as narrow as possible. Then you go build a list. And there's a lot of tools that could do this for you, like Apollo or LinkedIn or Clay.com, or if you're doing e-commerce, it would be Store Leads, a lot of different tools. But if you just type in list building tool, you'll see all of these pop up. Another really good one is instantly.ai. But essentially how it works is you can go into these tools, you can describe the types of clients you want. So you can say, I want businesses of this size. I want people that are in this role, or they're in this country, whatever it is. And then essentially it's going to actually give you a list of people and their email address, right? So if you don't have any email list or any social media followers, that's fine, because you can go to these databases and you can get a list of tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of contacts right away, really just for a few $100. So you can actually get a very targeted list of ideal clients pretty easily. But the most important thing is to be specific, because if you, let's say you're just targeting businesses, if you just target small business owners, you're going to be so generic that you're not really going to speak to anyone. So it's very, very important that you clarify your positioning and who you're speaking to, and exactly who those people are and their characteristics, their demographics, before you go build a list, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to write copy that speaks to one specific persona. So first step is build a list. Second step is messaging, right? Once you have a list, you have to message each person. Now you can send cold emails, you can reach out to these people on LinkedIn or other social media channels, or you can actually call them, right? Or hire someone to call them, right? I usually recommend cold email as a starting point. That's typically where we recommend starting, just because it's going to allow you to reach the most people in the shortest amount of time, and it's going to give you the best return on your investment. And you don't have to actually sit there and send emails yourself each day. You can do that. You can send, 10, 20, 30 emails a day yourself and really personalize them to who you're reaching out to. But you can also go into automation tools, which we can talk about a little bit as well today, of how to actually send out these messages at scale. So if you have a list of 10,000 ideal clients that you've gotten from your database, you can upload that into a tool like instantly.ai, which is going to send each of your messages out to each of those prospects every single day. So that way you can have just this campaign working in the background that's reaching out to people on behalf of you and inviting them to book a call or download your lead magnet or whatever the next step in your funnel is. And we can talk about some strategies for messaging as well if you hang around for the rest of the podcast, and some copywriting tricks as well. Then the third step is to follow up. So, with outbound, you're really starting conversations, right? The wrong way to do cold email is to email people a link to a funnel or a link to buy something. You don't want to just be selling people. It's really more of a way to start the conversation and to build relationships before you actually sell, right? So when we're sending cold emails, we usually ask people in a call to action, hey, would you like to learn more? Or hey, would you like to have a chat? We're not giving them a link to anything, right? We're really just trying to pique their interest in what we're selling and see if they want to learn more. So it's kind of more like sales than it is really marketing, right? Because you're really treating it more as a one-to-one conversation at scale. So what's going to happen when you do it right is people are going to be replying back to your emails and your messages saying, hey, this sounds interesting, tell me more. Or they might have a question, right? So the third step is to follow up, right? Once a day, you just want to check your inbox and just follow up with leads quickly. The quicker you can get back to a lead, the more likely they are to actually, reach out to you, work with your team, book a call, whatever the next step is. But if you leave that lead till the next day or two, the chance of them continuing the conversation goes down dramatically. And there's been a lot of research on this and on the importance of speed to leads. So you want to follow up with your leads daily, follow up with them quick, and ultimately just move them to the next step in the funnel. So it's very, very important that in this 3-step process, you're not really trying to sell your product or service. You're just trying to pique their interest with a message and then move them to the next step in the funnel. So for most of our clients, they're typically using cold outreach to book calls. So the call to action is, hey, book a demo with our team or book a consultation. So we just want to use cold email to get people to say that they're interested to learn more and then book them on a call with our team. Now whatever your business is or whatever you're selling, whatever the next step is, if it's not book a call, that's fine too, but you just want to direct them to that next step in the funnel. You don't want to be trying to close a deal over cold email, because you have to realize with cold outreach, people don't already know you. They don't already, like and trust you. So you're really just trying to open the conversation, but then move them to the next step in the sales process. Now, if you like the idea of using cold outreach to get more leads, more targeted leads, and more booked calls for your business, this is exactly what we do at Revenue Boost. We have an agency where we run all of your outbound fully done for you. You don't have to do anything except show up to sales calls and we'll book them for you with your ideal clients. We also offer consulting if you actually want to implement this yourself or have a team member implement this, but you'd like some help and some pointers and some guidance on how to set this up correctly and how to get this working and generating revenue for your business. Over the last couple of years, running outbound campaigns has gotten a lot easier because there's a lot of automation tools that can help speed up the process, and you don't have to be a developer or a tech expert to use them. They're very, very user-friendly. So I'm going to share some of my favorite tools to make this really easy to do on your own. So first, again, I mentioned it briefly before, but one of the most important steps is list building, right? You need to really get the right list of prospects. I don't recommend buying lists from random people. You can just go into a database and build your own list yourself. I would say the easiest tool for all of you guys would be instantly.ai. This is a tool that can actually send the emails for you, but it can also find the prospects and find the email addresses for you, right? So that's definitely a really great tool to get the list. Now, as far as actually sending the emails, if you would like to go the automated route where you could be reaching hundreds or thousands of prospects per day without actually manually sending emails, that would also be instantly.ai. Now, there's a lot of tools that do cold email. First of all, it's very important that you don't use a regular email marketing tool or a CRM to send cold emails. If you use HubSpot or Pipedrive or High Level, you don't want to be sending cold emails from there. And the reason for that is there's a specific way to do cold emails that's going to help you actually land in the inbox and avoid spam and have great email deliverability. And if you use a regular all-purpose email marketing tool, those are not designed for cold email, right? Those are really for warm lists or people in your CRM and people who've opted in. So the tool that you're using for your regular email marketing is not what you use for cold email. I can get into all the technicalities, but I don't want to bore you guys. Just know that you have to use a specifically cold email marketing tool. And my favorite is instantly.ai. But this is where you can basically upload your list, and then you can upload your template. So let's say that you write a series of 3 emails, which is usually what we do, right? You don't want to be sending these 20 step-long email sequences. You don't really want to spam or bother people. Just send 2 to 3 emails to each person on the list that just mentions your offer and intrigues them to learn more or connect with you. And you basically write your 3 templates, step 1, step 2, step 3, space them a few days apart, and you upload that and you upload your list into Instantly. And then it's just going to go down your list every day and send out each message and each follow-up at the designated time for each lead. So it's really that simple. You can log into Instantly and within half a day have a list, have emails written, and have campaigns actually going out and live. So again, you don't need to be a tech whiz to do any of this. It's all quite user friendly, and there's a lot of AI that can help you in the process too. Now, if all this sounds really good, but you don't feel like you have the time to really learn this and implement it yourself, but you want it done for you, you could definitely book a growth call with me and my team, and we could chat about your business, your offers, your target market, build a strategy together, and talk about what it would look like just to have us run all this for you so that you can have this working booking calls for you without actually having to learn all of it yourself. Now, if you want to learn more and connect with me, you can go to revenueboost.net to book a call. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn at AJ Cassata, Cassata. I'm always happy to answer questions, give you some advice there. And we also recently released a 5-day course on how to actually build your own cold outreach campaigns. And you can get that on my LinkedIn as well.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.